All right, looks like I'm live again. Welcome back. If you caught yesterday's stream, I started this track a little bit before the stream, and then the first half hour was silent. So that was a fail on my part. But basically, I had borrowed my brother's guitar and fumbled around on it for a while until I had chopped up some bits and pieces. And it's a first for me getting to sort of have a guitar-based electronic track. Yeah. So we left off yesterday. Looked more or less as it does now. The only thing I've done off stream is I decided to bump up the BPM when I heard it this morning. 108 felt a bit slow, so I've now bumped it up to 110. What I first do before changing the BPM is I decide which of my audio tracks need to be time stretched and which don't. So if you change the BPM without time stretching, your drum loops will go out of time if they're in audio. For example, this shaker loop, I would set the time base to beat, position, length, and rate. So when I change the tempo, it will adjust the rate and position and length based on the tempo. So it'll compress it, both the actual waveform and the proportions relative to the grid, basically. And then for something like a kick drum, I would set it to position only, so it'll stay on the grid or relative to the grid. So if the BPM changes, that grid gets a bit more compressed, so it'll stay in time with the grid, but it won't actually stretch the kick drum or compress the kick drum. You can run into trouble if your like chopped audio is close together, and then you speed it up and the chops start to overlap because it doesn't say anything about the length. It would be kind of cool if there was a position and length setting, so your clip could be shortened but without affecting the rate of the sample, so it doesn't speed it up or slow it down. It just changes the length of the clip. That would be kind of cool. Maybe there is some setting like that deeper in the menus. And then obviously time completely ignores the BPM. So wherever it is in minutes and seconds is where it'll land. So that's handy if you've got like a video file or something. You don't want it to speed up or slow down, and you don't want it to move relative to the grid. Maybe you do, but chances are, yeah, if you're syncing music to video, you'll want the video to stay where it is. And if you've got any chops on the video, they need to stay where they are based in time, not based on the grid. So it's a little different from something like Ableton, where you can just quickly change the BPM and expect that things work as expected. So yeah, so anything like this, which was, a stretched sample or a stretched loop or compressed loop, that one, any of those tracks, I'll have set them to position, length, and rate before I change the BPM. And I also turned the kick down, and now I'm wearing different headphones. These are the Sony MDR 7506 headphones. I've got a bit of an EQ curve in my monitoring chain that affects how I hear things through these headphones, because they've got some weird resonances in my opinion. But I've got it running out 3 and 4, and you guys are hearing 1 and 2, so you won't hear what I'm hearing. You'll hear the sort of clean audio. And going to do another playthrough, see if there's anything I want to do. I might start something new today. I've been wanting to just bang out a bunch of different ideas and then sort of choose between them instead of seeing every project through to the end, if you know what I mean. It would be kind of, I think maybe that'll be another day's project, but what I probably should be doing is even beatboxing like a bunch of ideas and then choosing between them and maybe creating some sort of a storyline between them before I actually produce it, so I could like build like a live set or something from my mind. That would be quite a fun project. It's been something I've been thinking about doing. Yeah, it's like a different workflow. Otherwise, you end up just doing the things that, whatever your instruments are, end up dictating how things sound, like picking up a guitar and barely being able to play, or playing the push and how I play the push. Yeah, if I have an idea in my head, then it sort of will break that loop. So it's just a different workflow, something I've been meaning to try out, but not today. So yeah, that's where we got to so far. Couple of things I was thinking I would do. One, I would like to maybe go back to this section. Pretty sure that's the same snare I used in that Tasha Baxter collaboration. Full Moon Flex track that I did called Dream Weaving. wonder if I must just restart this machine. I've hardly been running it and it's crackling worse than yesterday, and I've upped the buffer size. And this is why I got new thermal paste and stuff. This machine is just not the same as it was 2 years ago, even after being properly cleaned. Very strange. I even tried Linux. It's definitely something hardware related. This track is using relatively high resources, but should be able to do more than 40% CPU usage without crackling like that, I would imagine. Why is this pad in my drum group? I don't know. Let's bring it up here. And I feel like it could be wider. Maybe I need to start freezing things as well. find that font a little hard to read. I can never tell if it's a 15, 16, or 18. All right. I want to just give it sort of random values. Map it to here. Run free. Ooh. Kind of cool. Kind of wanted to build more slowly instead of decaying quickly. I mean, I can try like 1024. Man, I get way more bots than on Twitch than on YouTube. It's crazy. Greetings. How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. Been working on this track since last night. going to start something new soon, I think. Just had a few little tweaks and notes, and you come back to something fresh the next day. It's not nearly finished. Like, I was thinking of adding some djembes or something, but I want to sketch out a couple more ideas because I'm going to be playing a set tomorrow night, and I'd like to have a few of my own tracks ready, and even sketches, because I'm going to jam with a couple of synths. Well, there's like a Novation circuit and a Novation mini Nova. And I was thinking in Ableton, I'll send them MIDI so that I could play stuff on push or have sequences related to existing tracks. And I can just send them MIDI. Could be interesting. Or I could just, like the circuits, I can send it MIDI sync, and then it sends clock to the Novation. No, I had it separate. I had the circuit on USB, and then I had the Novation taking MIDI straight out of the Mini Nova straight MIDI out of my sound card. So, yeah, I might just jam on them, to be honest. If I have the core rhythm in Ableton, then the circuit's drums don't have to be like kick and snare. They could be more percussion and stuff. That way I can high pass it and have it sit in the mix nicely, add effects to it as well. I might do an effects return into Ableton so I can add delays and stuff to both of them. Yeah. So I thought I would sketch out a few ideas. How you doing, man? Thanks, man. It's an interesting sketch. I've just switched to my speakers. I'm gonna quickly. Yeah, it's interesting going from these headphones, which are super bassy, and thinking I've dialed in the bass, and then hearing them through my monitors and sub, and having second thoughts about things. But, yeah, let me have a listen. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I was up late. I was up very late. So I'm not sure the time difference though for you. What time is it for you? For me, it is 3:45 in the afternoon. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for the recommendations. I got Reaper tips confused with someone else. I think he was like, I don't know if he was British, maybe. He had like a sort of an accent, so somewhere around the UK, I think. And he had a theme. I can't remember what he was called. I thought it was Reaper tips, but I then checked out Reaper tips as someone else. So, yeah, I thought I knew the theme, but I didn't. Really cool. I love how light the text is. Like, it's very clear to read what your track names are. So I'm a fan, very much a fan. And it's all the things I want to reach for when the tracks are thin. Like, I want volume, pan, and width. And then also having the routing there is cool because I have a shortcut to show the effects chain, which I've now switched from this view. I've now got a shortcut to show this instead. And if I do need that, I'll just open the track up and get it. Sometimes it's handy for copying multiple effects at once to go to the old effects chain. But yeah, it's kind of nice being able to quickly search for things. I've noticed some of my clap plugins aren't showing. Pretty sure it's like Surge. I don't see the clap version of Surge in it for some reason. And there's a couple of little behavioral things I'd like tweaked. But for the most part, it's pretty cool and it looks nice. It's a nice change from the old view. Hmm. That was so funny just now. Like I put a compressor on the tom roll thing that I've got going. These labs drums. And I put pressure on, which is a compressor, and I kept pushing it and listening in the mix and thinking I'm not really hearing any difference. And then I thought it was because I don't trust these headphones. Like these aren't the headphones I normally use. So I switched to the speakers and I did the same thing in solo. And I was like, nope, it's not really doing what I was expecting it to do. OTT was actually more like what I wanted. I kind of wanted it to bring some of the sort of atmosphere of the samples through a bit more clearly. And give them sort of a pushed sound. I think I'm happy with that now. What I might do is filter them out, sort of just making a rough ending. Hey, welcome Blank Poster Music. Synths I'm using. Okay, well, so I fumbled around on my brother's guitar. I don't know how to play at all. And I spent ages just noodling around and eventually chopped it up to what you hear in the guitar. And then it was just running DI into my computer with Guitar Rig. And I think I just found a patch. I was going through various patches. A friend was here playing guitar, and when he left, I was like, why wasn't I recording? And I was looking at this blank canvas and thinking, I can't play guitar, but that was so cool. So I kept it on whatever patch was there. I never ended up changing it. It's funny, it's not telling me what. Oh, it's here. Tweedy Blues Lead. All right, fine. And then other synths used. This pad is literally just a preset in Surge. I think I just now I changed the ADSR of the filter a bit because it was starting high and going down, which I wanted to just swell. It was also very mono sounding, so I've added reverb, I've added ducking, or pulsing, bit of a high pass. This is just a Rhodes. I'm going through the simple stuff first. I mean, it's actually all pretty simple, to be fair. So that's literally expand, which I bought for $1 back in the day. I've got the Mark II keyboard. It is the ping pong delay is my trusty. It's a reactor ensemble that you can find online for free. It's called Stereo Tape Delay, and it's got a lot of characters you can hear. Let me just click on that track again. You can kind of hear it warbles. And you can change the left and right speed. And you can modulate these parameters. Oh, there's the flutter. That must be what we're hearing. Yeah. I just love its character. I could use a mono version of it, to be honest. It's also got ducking, which is just where when the input signal's coming in, you don't hear the delay as much, and then when you let go, the delay kind of swells up. You've got effects mode, which bypasses the dry wet, or the mix, which then uses the dry wet. And yeah, that is a reactor ensemble. Obviously, you have to have reactor for that, but I love that delay. Then I've got bass is Modo bass. It's a physical modeled bass. That sounds pretty cool. Widened it a bit with this. Oh man, there's a fly in here. It's very aggressive. It's like flown into my face. It's like sat on the middle of my screen where I had to swat him away. So if I turn off the dry, it's a sort of a chorus. It's also, this is a free plugin, and you can high pass the wet. Without it. It's sort of subtle, but I like it. Took out some sort of boxy mids on it. Sample the fly, someone says. That would be classic. Someone in my chat said sample the fly. Did you see the new Bitwig 6? Yeah, man, it looks really cool. It looks, from what I've seen people actually using it, it sounds like they've changed so much that it's like affecting people's workflow and they're having to kind of relearn. So I think there'll be a period of adaptation for people, but I think for new users, it might be a bit more approachable, actually. Synths I'm using. Sorry, I was catching up here on the chat. Yeah, Expand is legendary. And then what was I was running through? So then these were the other synths I had. This is one of the basic shapes in, or default shapes in Serum 2. So there's like a square. It sounds very square, even though it looks like some sort of a saw wave. I don't quite... I suppose, yeah, it's interesting. It sounds very similar to the square.